It's been a phenomenal year. As we look back over this year, we're filled with unending gratitude to you as leaders for the impact that you've made, for the sacrifices that you've made, and for the lives you've changed. Anytime we're addressing something as significant as the mission that's before us, it's important that we take time to celebrate, to look at the wins, to look at the things that have been accomplished and the great things that have happened over this last year. Think about the times that you've prayed with a student or for them. Think about the trust that you've earned in their lives. Think about the way your life has impacted their life. See, we're always shocked to find out where our students are coming from, but what a cause for joy in our lives to consider the fact that people in the Tri-Cities know that there's a place that cares, that there's people who care about them, where they're coming from and where they're going, that care about their lives, about their eternity, about their relationship with God. Identity, the Rail, you have been that, and we are so proud. As a team, your directors and your pastors look back over this last year to ask ourselves, what were the highlights? Two of the greatest camps we've ever done. One that was the best attended, and the second that received the highest reviews from you as leaders. We looked back over events like Glow, over the sex series that we did, over the missions trip where some of our core students had life-changing moments, impact that will bear fruit long to come in their lives as we got to walk through that experience with them. But topping the list, bar none, was the fact that we get to work with you as leaders. The impact that you've had and the joy of working with a team as excellent as you are. We all know we have a significant task to do. None of us are just trying to fill time because we can't find things to do with our lives. We're here because we know that it matters. We're here because we know that there's students in the Tri-Cities that still need to hear about Jesus. If we're to take an honest assessment of our ministry, it has to be more than just counting the number of butts in a seat or the number of leaders on their feet. We have to ask ourselves, what are we wanting to accomplish and what's going to get us there? So where are we as a ministry? We all know that we're getting a few things right. We are a diverse group of students from all over the Tri-Cities, representing the Tri-Cities pretty well. We're fun, we're talented, we don't all look alike. Many of our students are worshipers who have a good understanding of God and of His Word. They desire a relationship with Jesus. Our students are individually involved all around our community. Identity is not the only thing they do. It's one of the many good things that they do. Some of our students are growing and they have a good understanding of God, a great relationship with God, one that can be respected. Some of our students are very close-knit. They care deeply about one another. They fight for each other in their faith, in their families, in their relationships, in their integrity. We have a great group of students. We also know that there's some areas that need work. Along with the highlights reel, there's also a little bit of what we call a blooper reel. Things that didn't go so well. All of our blooper moments had this in common. They were events and activities where your directors and myself knew what we wanted, but you as leaders did not. And that was our fault. We didn't adequately communicate ahead of time what we were hoping for out of the event. The second thing is we noticed that they were all activities and events that were not planned far enough in advance. Surprise, surprise. Second thing is we've addressed is that with our tight-knit group, there can tend to be a sense of exclusion, a sense of superiority, and a feeling that we're closed off. Even as we say that, we know that that can't happen. It's exactly the opposite of what Jesus had planned to do, but we also know that it's our human tendency. So we're going to have to put some strategy and some effort into changing that. The last thing we've addressed is that we've lacked a consistent strategy to involve new people in our ministry and into our teams. Again, something that we've got to change. The beauty of these understandings is that as we recognize them, we can address them. And as we address them, they will change. Why do we do what we do? Because there's a world that needs to know that there is hope in the transforming relationship with Jesus Christ. That there's healing for hurts, that there is new life in Him. But let's be honest, that's a daunting task. So let's narrow the field a little bit. We love that we belong to an incredible church here at Faith. One that's addressing the need for people all around the world to know about Jesus. From right here in our community to all around the world, we're investing time, energy, and influence into making sure that people hear that there's hope in the message of Jesus. Our job, simply, is the students. Students in middle school and high school. From Southridge to Taylor Flats, from Benton City to Burbank. Our job is to address the need of students, that there's hope in Jesus. But let's narrow it down just one more step. What if everyone in our community took a step in? See, I look at it like this. Think of a target. The outside ring represents the people in our community, students all over the Tri-Cities. The ring inside of that represents guests who have visited Identity, or maybe they visit on a semi-regular basis. The ring inside that represents students who are regulars. They come twice a month. They call Identity their youth ministry. Inside of that, we would call the students committed. They're here all the time. They're part of our lifeblood. They're people who are stepping up to the plate and putting ownership into Identity. Beyond that is our leaders, people who are up front, making things happen, people that we're saying, hey, this is an example of what it means to be a student and to love Jesus. Now here's a thought. What if over the next 10 months, everyone took a step in? What if everyone in our community found out that there's a ministry in West Pasco that reaches out to students, that is a place where everyone can belong? What if they became guests of Identity? What if those who had visited once, maybe twice, or will visit this year, decided that they're going to become regulars, that they're going to become people who call Identity home? And then what if the regulars became committed? What if they owned Identity and made it theirs? And what if the committed became leaders? Became people that are growing in their relationship with Jesus, that are doing things up front, that are calling Identity not only their home, but making Identity what it is. Now you might be sitting there thinking, great idea, Pastor Micah. How are we going to do it? Here's the plan. The first thing is we believe we need to have clear-cut, established values. That we need to be able to say, Identity is. As your directors, as your pastor, God's laid it on our heart that we need to be 5 things. The first one is we need to be creative. We need to be people who are not just doing it the same old way, but that we're using our God-given imagination for God-given responsibilities. The second thing is we need to be compelled. We need to believe and work to do those things that we know matter to God. We need to be compelled. We need to be growing. We need to be expanding. We need to be not only growing in numbers, but growing as individuals, as leaders, as students, growing closer to God. We need to be inviting, because there's people that don't just think it's normal to walk through the doors of a church. They need to find out that there's a ministry in West Pasco where they can belong, where they can feel right at home no matter what they look like or where they come from. And the last thing is we need to be devoted. We need to be people who are committed to God's word, to honoring Him, to making Him great. And as we are creative, as we are compelled, as we are growing, as we're inviting, and as we are devoted, we believe we accomplish what God has set out for us to accomplish this year. There may be a lot to do, but as a team, we have to recognize this fact. Together, we can. Together with God, His Spirit inside of us, there is no reason we can't accomplish what He set out for us to do this year. And together in unity, each of us using our skills, each of us bringing something to the table, we can do this. Together, we can. This year, it's our heart and our passion that we would see you thrive in your area of gifting. So you're great at something, and you are great at something that no one else on our team is great at. And we believe that as each of us brings something to the table and decide, I'm going to make this youth ministry better by doing whatever it is that you're gifted at. Together we get to see the power of the combined effort of us making something better. See, the thing is, as I talk about this, there's probably already something in your head. Something that you've looked at and said, man, it would be awesome if we could. This year, why don't you lead the charge? Why don't you be the one to gather a team, to build students, to accomplish that task, to make our ministry better together than we could ever be apart? And the second thing is this. We recognize that with a diverse group of students, that we have to have a variety of options to help them grow in their faith. There are so many different places. They have such different backgrounds and different ideas about God and who He is and what it means to live for them that we can't any longer think that one approach would hit all of them. I'm excited to announce to you that this year we're going to be launching something that we've never done before. We're calling it growth groups, and it's exactly that. It's a group that's committed, that's devoted, that's accountability, and that is completely voluntary. It's not something that everyone will be expected to be a part of, but that we would find those students who are anxious to grow in their relationship with God, and that we would run with them, that we would encourage them and equip them to grow in what it means to be a believer in Jesus Christ. Our growth groups will be as diverse as the leaders who lead them. But through resources like the Life Journal, we'll have a simple, Bible-based approach to lead our students into greater maturity. The truth is that not every leader will lead a growth group, and not every student will be a part of a growth group. But if this is an area of our ministry that you could see yourself being involved in, let me know. Send me some communication and let me know that that's something you're interested in. We'll also be talking more about this on our meeting on September 8th, which I'm excited for every one of you to be a part of. With the launch of growth groups, we believe that our life groups need to adapt and to morph to fit this new strategy. This year, our Sunday groups will change in structure, in practice, and in name. The purpose behind these Sunday groups is to have a structured response to God's Word. With as diverse as our students are, how could we think that one approach would fit them all? Each of them are going to respond differently, but we want this response to be led by someone who can understand proper theology, by someone who can lead them in an intellectual response, that they would make decisions that would lead to their growth. So in order to bring clarity to exactly what these groups are, we've decided to give them a very simple but meaningful name. To call them response circles, because they're about response and because you'll be in a circle. We want to make it simple that students will be able to get their mind around the fact this is all about a response to God's Word. It's all about a response to what He's doing in your life and how that meets with the topic that He's put on the heart of the speaker for that evening. As a youth staff, you'll lead a response circle almost exactly like you lead a life group, because it's about our response and how God's Word meets our lives, and it's about the students. It's about where they're coming from. But we believe this, that transformation requires movement. We have to have a response to God's Word and what He's doing in our lives. I believe that our values and honing in on those, that defining those, is going to make us better. I believe this year is going to change lives. I believe that this year is going to lead to growth. I believe that together, we are the perfect team to make this happen. Thanks for watching this quick video. If you have any questions, please email me or let me know what your thoughts are. Please, as well, plan to join us on September 8th as we plan, strategize, and train ourselves for the job that's ahead. We believe that you're it. We believe that God's chosen you for the task that's ahead. And we believe that we are absolutely better together. Hope you guys are having a great summer, and I look forward to seeing you in September.